What's up, everyone? Welcome to the May 10th edition of FanDuel Tournament Plays presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at Prize Picks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. Tonight we have a 12-game MLB slate. No weather issues, so should be good to go there. Don't have to worry about changing up lineups later for postponements, rain delays, any of that. Should be pretty relaxing in that regard. As usual, going to take a look at three of the top tournament stacks and three of the top tournament pitchers on FanDuel using the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool on the Awesemo.com website. Starting with the top three stacks. Number three, the San Diego Padres are taking on Wade Miley tonight in San Diego. The Padres are projected for about 2% ownership with a 4% chance of being the top scoring stack. Miley is making his first start of the season after returning from injury. He made one start at, I believe, AAA this year, somewhere in the minors. I think it was AAA. Went 4 innings. Last year, he had a 4.07 xFIP. It was just a run-of-the-mill starter. The Padres overall this season have a 99 WRC+. Their offense is watered down a little bit since they're still missing Fernando Tatis, but you have Manny Machado in the midst of a fantastic start to the season. You have some other power with guys like Ha-Sung Kim, Austin Nola, others. Jake Cronenworth from the left side can hit. Eric Hosmer puts the ball in play. Not your prototypical cleanup hitter, but Jurickson Profar, Trent Grisham, all these guys can do some damage still. Even though the lineup is a bit watered down, they still have a 4.2 implied run total tonight against Miley and the Cubs bullpen. Number two, the San Francisco Giants taking on Antonio Cenzatello tonight in San Francisco. Not a favorable park to hit in, but they're projected for about 3% ownership with a 5% chance of being the top scoring stack. Cenzatello has not been great this year. 4.73 xFIP for Cenzatello. He's never been a good strikeout pitcher. He's reliant on getting ground balls, inducing weak contact. All of that is fine, and when he's on top of his game, he can be very frustrating to roster hitters against. But pitchers like that typically have a smaller margin for error because they don't have the raw stuff to get you out if they're not locating extremely well. So just a small margin of error for somebody like Cenzatello. The Giants have been an above average offense so far this year with a 107 WRC+. Do keep an eye on their starting lineup. Brandon Belt was a late scratch last night. We would certainly prefer him to be in the starting lineup. I'm not saying not to stack the Giants if Belt is out, but it is a plus if he's in the lineup. They currently have a 4.4 implied run total tonight. And number one, the New York Mets taking on Patrick Corbin in DC. The Mets are projected for about 11% ownership. They have about an 11% chance of being the top scoring stack. Corbin has a 4.16 xFIP so far this season. The Mets have been one of the best offenses in baseball with a 117 WRC+. And it's not hard to see why when you look down their lineup. Even if you ignore the lefties like Brandon Nimmo, who's most likely hitting toward the top of the order, you have a lot of right-handed power with Mark Canha, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Eduardo Escobar, J.D. Davis, assuming he's in the lineup. Starling Marte gives you some power and speed. This is a lineup that can really do a lot of damage against Corbin potentially. They have a 5.3 implied run total, and their ownership, even though they are projected to be popular for a 12-game slate, it's still in line with their chances of being the top stack. Now, looking at the top three tournament pitchers, coming in at number three, Mike Clevenger, projected for 4% ownership with a 5% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. He's taking on the Chicago Cubs, who have not been very good offensively so far this year. 96 WRC+ for the Cubs, 24% strikeout percentage. Clevenger has only made one start so far this year since returning from injury. He missed all of the 2021 season, only made 8 starts in 2020. So it's been a while, and we don't really know what to expect from Clevenger. His fastball velocity in his first start was down 1 to 2 miles per hour over where it was in 2020 and in previous seasons. So that is something to keep an eye on. But the reason I'm not overly worried about it is that he's cheap. He's $7,600. If you were giving me a $9,000 or a $9,500 Clevenger, I'd be a lot more concerned about going to him here. But at low ownership and at a price tag that does account for the fact that he hasn't really pitched in 2 years, I'm interested in getting to him because we know when he is healthy, he's a very good strikeout pitcher, and he is typically priced at more than $9,000. So I do like getting him at low ownership and the cheap price tag. He did also throw 95 pitches in his last start, so at least we don't have workload limitations on him. Number two, Lucas G Alito, projected for 6% ownership with a 6% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. He's $10,300 tonight, taking on the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland has a 3.6 implied run total. They've been excellent offensively so far this year. A 118 WRC+ is third in baseball. They've only struck out 19.8% of the time, but I've said it on a lot of these shows. I just don't buy into them being this good of an offense or even a good offense at all. A lot of players in this lineup do have track records of just being average to below average major league hitters. Obviously, that's not including guys like Jose Ramirez, Franmil Reyes. We know they can do some damage. Stephen Kwan is very difficult to strike out towards the top of that order as well. But it's just hard to imagine that Cleveland doesn't regress pretty heavily going forward. And G Alito is a very good pitcher. He's off to an excellent start this year. He has struck out 40.5% of the hitters that he has faced. He has a 2.25 xFIP and just isn't getting much ownership tonight. And number one, Kyle Wright, 1% projected ownership, 7% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. He is expensive at $10,900. It's understandable why he's not projected to get ownership. He's $100 more expensive than Justin Verlander. He's $600 more expensive than Lucas Giolito. That's ignoring that, Robbie Ray is much less expensive. Aaron Nola is $1,200 less expensive. Jesus Luzardo is $10,000. So still $900 less than Kyle Wright. He's the most expensive pitcher on the slate, and I wouldn't say he's the best. He's been very good so far this year. He has a 30.6% strikeout percentage. He has a 2.6 xFIP. He's facing a Red Sox team that's been atrocious offensively with an 80 WRC plus. They've also struck out about 21.7% of the time, but this is very much a spot to just pay up to be contrarian. It's not a spot where I think that you should just be jamming Kyle Wright into a ton of lineups because, again, he's expensive. You're going to have to sacrifice other positions, and there are very, very good pitching options that are less expensive than him. But if you do have a lineup where you're just trying to be a little bit different, maybe you have some more popular hitters, Kyle Wright does give you a very high ceiling with his 30.5% strikeout percentage, and it's going to be very difficult for people to click that name when he is more expensive than guys like Giolito and Verlander. So to recap, the top three tournament stacks on FanDuel: number 3, the San Diego Padres. Number 2, the San Francisco Giants. Number 1, the New York Mets. And the top 3 tournament pitchers: number 3, Mike Clevenger. Number 2, Lucas Giolito. And number 1, Kyle Wright.